The COVID-19 pandemic entered into our lives and revolutionized the way in which we interacted, the way in which we worked, and indeed the way in which we lived our lives. Not just around the world, but also here in Jamaica. The COVID-19 has impacted on businesses, on church, on schools, and also on family life. Businesses have had to learn to pivot. Schools have had to learn to integrate new methods and technologies into the learning. And family have had to learn how to interact and interface with each other in the confines of the home 24/7. Without a doubt, you and I have been impacted by COVID-19. Today, Bless TV brings to you this special, insightful look on how businesses in Jamaica, Seventh-day Adventist owned, have been able to stay afloat, integrate their faith, and to keep mission at the center. To assist us in this discussion today, we have two gentlemen from two prominent business places in the corporate area and beyond. We have from House Assembly and Supplies, Elder Vivian Grant, the Chief Executive Officer. And we have also from Jamaica Bedding and also from OJ Coolers, the CEO himself, Elder Errol Lewin. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to have both of you, and thank you for engaging with us on this very critical topic. Ella Grant, share with us, how did House Assembly and Supply begin? What was the vision that directed the work?
First, let me just say good evening to everyone. It's a good privilege to share with Bless TV.
Yes.
So, your question, how did House Assembly and Supply started? We started our business in 1987 out of really a necessity. I was employed somewhere. I'm not going to go into why I left there, but I'll just tell you that I see an opportunity that exists that that people need to have a place where they can come and do their repairs to their hydraulic components. So I look at it and I decided that I'm going to start a business in that area, gaining the various knowledge and experience, and come to learn much about hydraulics. I know that the need is there, and also one of the things that prompted me, back then, things were very, very difficult to come by, and you have to improvise a lot. And I see myself as a person who innovate, and were able to do a lot of improvisation. And because of that, I know I would have the traffic, I'd have the customer in need of things that they couldn't get anywhere else, that somebody with a knowledge would have to know how to really create something or transform something or make something works. So the opportunity exists and I go after it.
So your background, your training and your experience, tell us a little bit about your life prior to that in terms of your academic training, your background, that would have made you in 1987, which is basically, 37 years ago, be able to launch into this, because it didn't just happen overnight. Tell us a little bit about the background and the academic training.
In 1973, I was just 17 years old when I left my country. My mother was working in Kingston as a domestic help. So I came to town and didn't have anything to do, searching for something to do. And I want to do something that can really uplift myself and uplift my family. So I really, from back home in the country, I made up my mind that whatever I'm going to do, it must be sufficient to support myself and to uplift my family.
Very good.
So I say to myself, I'm going to be a plumber. But trying to get into a space to learn plumbing, I find it very difficult because when my mother tried to find somewhere and you get there, you find yourself, it doesn't make sense because, you know, sometimes you think you have to pay the person them to, for that. That's how it was back then. You know, they give you something, but it doesn't make no sense. Sometimes you can't even buy lunch, you know. So that never lasts long. So I went around looking work. So I began to walk Walton Park Road, walk Hagley Park Road, just to look in the various business places to find a work. So I went into this place. It was Hackme Supply at the time. And I remember I spoke to a lady there, and she began to question me, where are you from? Which school you from? And, you know, answer the long and the short, she tell me, okay, go back to your school, get your transcript, let me see how you do in school, and then I'll see what I can do for you. So I went back there, they gave me the thing. I left the country because in those days they used to have this exam, common entrance. And after I know they get a half, they have a half full thing, but I went to Dintil. That's where I was supposed to be. I left and come to Kingston after delay in Guy's some time. So I went back, she looked at what I did at school, and she said, I'm going to give you a job. So she gave me a job there. I do many things I did there, but my interest was to get in the workshop where they do the hydraulic thing. And after about maybe less than a year, I was right in that spot, you know. So that's why the early training began there, because we learn many things, more than one things, because we learn welding, we learn about hydraulic hose and hydraulic fittings, and we learn about fuel conveyance, pumps and valves, cylinders, and then they sent me, after about 5 years there, they sent me to Ohio on a 6-week program, and I did that, come back home, and were able to perform much better than we used to, and
so you were very immersed into hydraulics.
Yes.
You learned a number of skills while there.
Yes.
And you decided, 1987, it was time to launch out, create something on your own.
Yes.
You started with 2 workers at that time.
Yes, that's myself and one of my brother.
Today, you manage a staff complement of how many individuals?
We have a staff complement today of 38.
30.
It was more than that maybe about 4 years ago, but gradually you trim.
And so you moved from Molynes Road, where House Assembly started in 1987.
All right, let me give you the truth of that. When I left Hackme Supply, I started at 37 Molynes Road, which were a very small place. It was a 14 by 12 room. You couldn't hold anything much, but that's where we started. But God has blessed us. We were able to rent a little warehouse from my uncle. He have an empty house at Norton Drive, and he rent me a part of it so we could store the things there, and then we work from 37. Gilbert came, and Gilbert disrupted all of that.
Wild Gilbert.
Wild Gilbert. Yeah. Disrupt all of that. But, you know, I look at it because all things work together for good. Because where we were in, the roof came off.
Yes.
And the owner of the building then moved me into a larger part of the building.
And so now you are actually, to cut it right to the point, now you're actually on Hagley Park Road.
Yes.
And you own your own enterprise, your
Yes.
own building, and you serve not just the Kingston and St. Andrew metropolitan area, but also in the parish of St. James.
Yes, we have a store Montego Bay, Cattleman, Montego Bay.
We're going to come back to you. Let me pivot to our Jamaica Bedding and OJ Coolers boss, Ella Lewin. Ella Lewin, walk us through. When did Jamaica Bedding begin? What was the rationale that drove the vision for Jamaica Bedding? And how are things now with Jamaica Bedding?
The antecedent for Jamaica Bedding was a next company named Foam and Accessories. What we used to do with foam and accessories was import the polyurethane foam, and we just cut them up and sell people for car seat, for chair seats, and that type of thing, and so on. The demand was great. After that, no, because the barrier to entry was very, very low. All different individuals came in, so the margin started to really dwindle. Didn't make any sense. So what we tried to do is to have what we call a vertical integration. Became vertically integrated, whereby we start to import the material to make the foam itself. The chemical, and that chemical is very, very expensive. So we started to make our own chemical rather than importing the foam, and we manufacture our chemical, or we manufacture our polyurethane foam, and we sell it. We not only sell it, but we started to make a mattress, foam mattress also. And that's the demand grew from there. We started to make spring mattress. We import the spring from the Dominican Republic, China, wherever we can get the good springs. And those are the mattresses that we call Supreme. We have Supreme Plus, and we have Royal Supreme mattress. And we just grew from there. Three brothers of us started it, and it grew from there.
You started with how many persons on your worker force?
Jamaica Bedding started about, Jamaica Bedding side of it now, started about 5, 6.
5, 6, and today Jamaica Bedding has about how many persons?
Over 100.
Over 100?
Yeah, because we start to horizontal integration now. We start doing furniture and that type of thing and so on.
Right.
And
so,
cities.
Ella Grant, Ella Lewin, walk me through life, business before the pandemic. It was up, man. Things were sailing. Things were
good. Things were good. Things were very, very good. But the pandemic came, hit us hard.
Tell us about what it was like before the pandemic actually came. Walk us through sales, worker force, what it was like with your markets.
Sales was good, market was good. We were able to really send 5 trucks a day, full with mattress, full with furniture and so on, to Moran Point, to Negril Point, to entire Jamaica. And we sell some from our local place that we are, Old Harbour. So the sale was doing very, very good before the pandemic started. Then come the pandemic.
And what happened since the pandemic?
St. Catherine shut down for some period of time, if you recall. So we could not go to work. Although we were not able to go to work, we had to pay the people who were not coming to work. I couldn't even pay myself at that time. The directors could not get any pay.
Yes.
So, but God has really helped us. We actually stepped out. There was a time when our bank loan, because
we're going to come to that. But Ella Grant, walk us through before the pandemic. Things on Hagley Park Road were perhaps a little hard because of the roadworks that affected all the enterprises from the top, come straight down to, from right at Halfway Tree intersection down to 3 miles.
Down to 3 miles.
So how did you survive? I mean, what was it like?
As we have to, main Hagley Park Road was actually closed off completely for a couple of months, maybe better parts of maybe 9 months, don't remember quite well. So luckily for us, we use our Gretna Green gate, which is the back gate, So when there was no access, or limited access to Hagley Park Road, it never affected us that much. But nevertheless,
but people didn't want to come down to Hagley Park Road, Mr. Grant. So how you say it didn't affect you? People...
No, I'm gonna tell you, I said we open our Gretna Green entrance. But the thing, our business of a nature as this, it's an absolute necessity. If you have a breakdown, you have to get your vehicle moving.
Correct.
It's your livelihood.
It's true.
You have to come and get it.
It's true.
And we have quite a loyal
customer base.
And people who know us, who've been working for years, they know that whenever they come to Rose Assemble, they're going to get what they want. Briefly, let me just tell you something about us. We work, and the way we work is to go into companies, look at the needs of the companies. We look at the engineers, we look at the end user, and we talk to the end user, we talk to the engineers, and then they would take the message back to the higher, to the manager and so forth. We say we can provide you that service, and we can guarantee you what we do going to make your business more efficient and more profitable, and we guarantee them that. And so that is part of how we act out there. So when they come to us, we have obligation to our customer to really be truthful to them. Let me just say this. In business, no matter how difficult it is, tell your customer the truth. Just tell them the plain truth. Don't worry, try to tell them anything and say, I will work it out later. Just up front. This is how it will be, and you'll find most of the time they work with you. You know, they will work with you. So the nature of our business, we never affected neither by the pandemic or by the roadworks too much, because we also go out and meet. But in the pandemic, nobody would let us in. That is one of the key things. Nobody would let us in. So God is good.
When you say let us in, you're speaking about the physical interface because of social
Yes,
distancing.
yes.
Right.
Hardly you would find anybody wants to let you come in and interact and you talk with people during the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ella Llewellyn, you were speaking earlier. Delve down into some of the real specific challenges that you had to face, because you said St. Catherine was shut down.
St. Catherine was shut down.
So you did enunciate on the fact that, yes, financially there had to be cutting and trimming of staff.
Yeah, we had to cut
and you
staff.
hardly got paid. But bring us deeper into the world. What were you facing throughout this time?
There was none for production. We were not able to produce anything. Plus, we also had what we call the supply chain problems.
Yes.
We could not get anything from overseas because of the pandemic.
Right.
And I would say about 50 to 60% of manufacturing, bedding manufacturers and so on, we have to import most of the things. The chemicals have to be imported because we don't manufacture chemicals. The fabric has to be imported and everything like that. So we had springs have to be imported from the DR, the Dominican Republic. So we had severe problems. And we just have to hold on. There are some staff who would have to get paid because we can't afford to do without certain staff. Right? And even some of them get half pay.
They're core to your operations.
Core to operation, right? You have to pay them. I couldn't get any pay. Other directors could not get any pay at all. Some of the staff, them who we know that they have the family to feed, they have the kids to send to school, that type of thing and so on. We could give them half pay for now until we catch up with it, and we started giving them back their full pay and so on. So it was a severe problem. We had bank loan to pay. We were indebted to the bank. And listen to me, don't care what banks are telling you. When time comes for them to get the payment, they'll tell you, okay, you can skip this month, skip this month, skip this month. But after you skip 3 or 4 months, that's it. So what we had to do, we had to liquidate certain assets, fix assets, and we did that. We have to pay down our loan significantly. We paid down our loans just by selling off certain fixed assets.
So even in the midst of the challenge, you were driven into a path that perhaps helped you better than you thought it could have helped you?
Yes, it did.
Because when the bank called for the money, you were saying, boy, where are we going to get the money from?
Exactly.
But the Lord provided a door, and you were able to liquidate those
assets to pay down that loan,
right.
where it become manageable and everything.
But the two stories are really contrast. In impact.
Yes.
Because Ella Grant, you are providing what you have referred to as an essential or a necessary thing that people can't go anywhere else to actually.
They can go
anywhere else, but it's needed because the service you're provided is needed.
Yes.
And here is Ella Llewellyn saying, listen, production stop. And so the impact is different on both organizations.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, the most impact we have is where we have, people who get sick, and you'd have employees not turning up for work, and that is where we get hurt the most. A lot of manpower working hours there, but nevertheless, we work with what we have.
Yes.
We work with what we have, and we were able to carry on the work, and we weren't worse off during the pandemic than any time else. I'm not going to say we grow, but we're never in a situation that I have to say to a worker, I have to lay you off or anything like that.
And that is important to you as a CEO.
Yes, yes, yes.
35 years in the business, and it's important that you manage the human capital and the human element of it. Which brings me to the discussion, Elders Grant and Lewin. The pandemic not only brought to the fore some changes in the operations that need to happen in companies,
Exactly.
but it accelerated in a number of places.
Yes.
So yes, there were some things that had to be changed because of the pandemic, and then there are other things that it accelerated. There are at least 4 of them that I want us to look on before as we get closer to our first break. Elder Grant, I want to speak about the digitization of the economy, because this has been one of the most significant impacts of the pandemic. It's not that we were not en route to a digitization of the economy.
True.
Right.
It is that the pandemic called on us to move quicker.
Yes.
Organizations had to respond more quickly. For one of the ways in which that happened was, for example, some organizations right up to the start of the pandemic were paying individuals via check or even the pay stubs being paper. But since the pandemic, that had to change and pivoted. How has digitization of the economy impacted on hose assembly and supplies?
One of the strategy to that, how you really meet that, you have to learn to embrace change and embrace it fast.
That's right.
If you see change coming, even if you have asset there and you see the asset not performing, get rid of it. You have to just embrace change and embrace it fast. You see something coming, begin to think, plan.
Yes.
How do I going to face this challenge that I see coming on? So even before we have this wide-scale digitization and technology, more technology involved in our business, some of us, especially the management staff, still was working from home years ago.
Well, we're coming to the work at home part.
Yes.
But I wanted to focus on the digitization. But I guess you're talking about the technology now affording you the ability to work at home.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that we used to do that long before.
Yes.
But so it's preparation also. Because if you were using something, you have to make some changes, some necessary changes that you have to make at a point in time just to meet the needs. For example, we would have customers that say you have to go out to them, but no, you can't go. You have to find means of way how you communicate, and communicate with images, communicated with videos, communicate in various different ways. You send them and say, and you can't be with anything too long. You have to just send somebody something.
Timely communication.
Right, something short.
No long letter and memo.
Right, so you have to have some strategy how you deal with the situation.
I like those 2 points that you've raised, Elder Grant. You have actually raised that to be resilient in a global change environment as the pandemic has brought about. Number one, I love how you put it, embrace change and embrace it fast.
Yes.
And number two, to prepare.
Yeah, and you have to collaborate. Collaborate with your partners, And when I'm talking about your partners, the everybody who you do business with, both your suppliers, your manufacturers, and your customers, you have to do that collaboration to make sure that when you're in need of something that requires a change, you can have somebody right at the manufacturing end to say, this is how I want you to redesign this. This is how I want this. My customer is requesting this, you know. And these are things that you have to do yourself sometime. I am hoping and praying that I can find somebody in time who really know you can really, or you really has to get out there.
You sound like you love flexibility and creativity, Mr. Grant.
Flexibility, yes. I love flexibility. I love to see the human brain working and function and come up with something that inspired and will help the progress. Some of the things that inspired me, you see, I read history about slavery. And one of the things that I discovered is that our foreparents, they has to be innovative. And although they wasn't treated as human beings, they come up with some design.
That is correct.
And some things that would help them do the hard work. You know, and when I look back on that, I said, we can do the same. And right now, Jamaica, in our situation, we can come up with ideas, with innovation, being creative to do things that would build our country and make it a place that is much better.
Yes. Thank you very much. Ella Lewin, just before we go to the break, dive into that, the digitization of the economy and how you see it impacting going forward on Jamaica Bedding.
As Elder Grant said, to embrace change. We have to embrace change. Some years ago, I read a little book.
Yes.
Who Moved My Cheese?
Yes, it's a powerful book.
Powerful little book.
Powerful book.
Yeah, it takes less than an hour to read through. But half hour to read through the book, very fast reader. You have to embrace change. Digitization is there. Sometimes I didn't like it because I think the banks were moving too fast. The banks were moving much, much too fast. But that's okay because right now we just need one person to just upload the salary to the banks, the payroll to the bank and that type of thing, and it can be done. Before that, we had to write several checks. Several checks. So that is something that we have embraced.
And that's something that you're going to be carrying forward.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely carry it forward.
We are talking with Elder Lewin from Jamaica Bedding and Elder Grant from Hose Assembly and Supplies. We're looking on the post-pandemic workspace and how it has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and some of the lessons that we can draw from that as we advance into the 21st century, further into the 21st century, and the emerging workspace that is going to be driven by different values and newer technologies and emerging technologies. We'll be right back after this commercial break. You're watching Bless TV. Stay with us.
Hose Assembly and Supply is committed to equipping all industries with the best quality hydraulic and industrial hoses and fittings, hydraulic pumps and components, durable professional and specialized tools, lifting equipment, air compressors, pressure cleaning machines, measuring meters, and much more. Our petroleum division offers a one-stop shopping experience with a wide range of products for the petroleum industry. Our team consists of well-trained technicians and experienced customer service representatives who are committed to attending to your request. We cannot be beaten when quality and prices are combined. We are the best in what we do, serving Jamaica for over 34 years. Come and experience the joy of being equipped for success by shopping with the Hose and Tools Boss by visiting one of our branches in Kingston at 173 Hagley Park Road, 181 Hagley Park Road, and 2 Charlesworth Crescent, and in Montego Bay at Shop 18 to 19 Montego Bay Trade Center, Catherine Hall. Follow us on Instagram at HAS Industrial JA and on Facebook at Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. You can also give us a call at 876-923-0046 or 876-923-3036 or send us a WhatsApp message at 876-320-5461. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, the Hose and Tools Boss.
In need of a new mattress? Searching around for the perfect prices on living room furniture? Visit Jamaica Bedding today. They design quality sleep systems, strong hardwood furniture, and elegant sofa systems locally designed just for you. We don't just offer a comfortable spring mattress, we offer you the best investment for an amazing sleep experience. Come in and talk to us today. Visit us at 29 East Street, Old Harbor, or call us at 876-983-0646, or you can WhatsApp or call 876-578-4494. Check us out on Facebook or on our website at www.jamaicabedding.com. Jamaica Bedding, the home of the supreme line of mattresses. Sleep in supreme comfort and style. Call us for the name and number of your closest distributor of our custom-made Jamaica Bedding Supreme mattress.
The post-pandemic workspace, its impact, opportunities, and challenges. This is the focus of Bless TV's special that is being brought to you today, and we're broadcasting to you from the Caymanos Golf Club in St. Catherine. And we're talking with Elder Lewin from Jamaica Bedding and from the Hose Assembly and Supplies on Hagley Park Road, Elder Grant. And we focus just now on the digitization of the economy. Now we're going to look on three other elements of the post-pandemic workspace. We're going to be looking on secondly, the stay at home or the integration of work from home in the workspace. Now Jamaica Bedding might have some challenges with that, with the hands-on part.
We certainly do.
We certainly do.
We certainly do.
And that might not be your reality either.
No, that's our reality.
Well,
Because in our case, we operate, our main business has to be done in our workshop and our repair shops. We have to have the technicians there to do the work. You know, the only two areas that we could work from home is where we have marketing, accounting, and our management staff. But every other areas has to be at the workplace.
Interesting. Yes.
That's my reality also, because recently we started to really delve very seriously into social media marketing. And our social media person right now, she's not even in Jamaica, but she reports to me at least once a week, tell me what is happening, what she has posted and that type of thing, the images that she has posted and so on. And the marketing, so that's the social, that's the advertising part of it. But the marketing side, we almost need to have somebody out there to go and meet the customers, talk with the customers, find out what the customer needs are. Because if you don't know what the customer needs are, then you can't satisfy the needs.
But Lewin, you can get that information from surveys, WhatsApp messages, can't you? Can't you incorporate some?
You can get that. However, let me tell you something. The customers, most of the customers in Jamaica that we deal with, they like to see somebody coming to them and
the
talk
human
to them.
interaction
The human
element
interaction is very critical.
Yes.
Extremely critical. Yes, you can say, okay, you can get about 50% of the goods being sold down Montego Bay side, Kingston side, and so on. But if they can look at you and say, hey, that is Mr. Lewin there, and you can talk with them, you can eat with them. Right? Because we do lots of business with the Asians.
Yes.
And one thing with the Asians, they like to shake your hand, they like to eat with you, they like to drink with you. When you walk in first in the morning, can I buy a soda? Can I buy coconut water? You have to take something from them. And they take it for lunch, take it for dinner, and so on. That is something that let them become loyal to you. And in a competitive environment, loyalty is extremely important. You don't take that for granted. You don't take that for granted. Loyalty is very, very important. When somebody says, okay, I need X, Y, Z, thank you, sir, we will supply it to you in 2 days' time. And 2 days' time, you actually try and supply it. Don't take that for granted. Because there are lots of people out there who will do the same thing.
Right. Elder Grant, you are going to be competing now, given the impact of globalization, the increase of technologies,
Yes.
and the opening up of world markets, you're going to now be competing not just with individuals within Jamaica. Do you have a vision? Do you have a outlook as to how globalization, especially since it's been expanded in the pandemic, how it's going to let hose assembly supplies and the suppliers not only be resident in St. James and Kingston and St. Andrew, but perhaps in China, perhaps a piece of the market in the United States of America?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because way back since I think was in the 90s, we were doing business in Barbados, and we were doing business in St. Lucia.
Okay.
We were doing business in St. Lucia. We deal with a company that supplies us with lubrication equipment. And because they train us and do the supply, any business come up in the Caribbean, they would say, okay, we want you to go and address this in that, But we haven't done that for a while, but we were doing those type of business. There's still room for that. Our company deals with very highly technical product. When I say the highly technical product, we are in lubrications. As a matter of fact, I don't think it would be a stretch for me to say that we are number one in lubrication equipments, away from hydraulic hose, because lubrication equipments is a complement to hydraulic hose and fitting and industrial hose. Those complement those. So the training that we have to go through with these things allow us to have a close relationship with the manufacturers of these highly technical equipment, So that's some of the ways that we are able to satisfy our local demand and able to improve the services that we rendered to various companies. Every year, our Eaton partner, they have the EDM meeting in Las Vegas. It's a 4-day meeting. We would be a part of that. And you go there, they'll introduce you to the new product and so forth, and you'll learn about different things and method and how you're doing things. And we'll come back and we'll share that also with our customers. We always come back with something that we can really plug in to our business model, to make our business have a flavor.
So you're having a globalized learning perspective.
A global.
And you bring that back. And
yes.
I want you to explain, Elder Grant, why it is so critical for businesses, especially moving into this knowledge-based economy, global space, why it's so important that we have a view, not just of it within Jamaican territory, but a global view. Why do you think it's so important in business?
Because things are changing rapidly, and today you are with one technology, and the next something
you can find along. Newer ways to get it done.
Newer ways to do business.
In a shorter time.
And time is important.
Turnover.
Time is important. So the competition out there, not only locally, but internationally, is great. In my circles, you have buyout heavy here. You have takeover heavy here. You hear
mergers, acquisitions.
And acquisition every year. So because that type of aggressiveness, you find that the companies that we dealt with overseas always push you. And sometimes they push you to the limit.
Yes.
Because even as we speak here, we have a training program with Eaton, which if we want to be in good stead, we have to have our various technicians. Right now, we do 4 of our technicians since 1922. We have another 4 to do directly.
Since 1922?
2022, sorry. 2022. Thanks, Pastor. So, for the rest of this year, we have another 4 people to train, and all this is done through technology, Zoom.
Yes,
design it.
very, very critical perspectives. Elder Lewin, you're going to be competing with individuals and partners that are exposed to quality,
All right.
equal quality to yours, quicker turnover time with customers who are ordering things on Amazon,
As Elder Grant-
getting them delivered right to your door. How is globalization impacting on you?
One of my mantra is to think globally, but act locally.
That's correct. Yes.
Think globally, but act locally. In other words, ISPA shows. ISPA is International Sleep Product Association. They have them every 2 years. We make certain we go there to know what is happening in the marketplace, what is happening out there. There was the most recent one was one in Orlando in March of this year. I was there, and I see the new techniques that are coming in, the new technologies that are there, and so on. And we try to use them, employ them, and so on. So we keep on the cutting edge. So nobody cannot beat us in it.
Well,
Always on the cutting edge.
let's look on the third plank that I have for us for the post-pandemic workforce. Let's now shift from globalization and from focus on digitization and technologies. And let's look on the core of why this happens, and it's people. The workforce is drastically changing.
Yes.
Yes.
Not only is it changing in its makeup, it is also changing in its impact. Today, young people are aligning themselves with entities that have a particular value-based system,
Technology.
philanthropic endeavor, engaging in, we speak about corporate citizenship, and not just looking on the economy and the profit, but also about community and involvement and giving back. The workforce is changing towards that.
yes. Yeah.
The workforce is changing in the sense that we're seeing people moving from one type of skill sets to multiple skill sets. When somebody comes into a workspace today, they can have multiple, as a matter of fact, employers are looking for individuals with multiple skill sets,
yeah.
because that automatically adds some
Flexibility.
flexibility and value to the entire workspace. And I want to have that conversation with you because globally, it is a relevant conversation. I don't know if we are as strong on it in certain areas here in Jamaica. We see some areas in Jamaica advancing towards it.
Yeah.
Some persons giving paternity leave. Some individuals are already allowing the workspace to include a center or a little room for maternal care and for child after school aftercare, showing the integration and the support for family life.
Corporate citizenship.
How do you see this impacting on your workspace? I'm speaking about the people now, and all of these factors in the new workspace impacting on the traditional view, which is still very much strong in Jamaica, and how you would like to see it go in your entity. Let me start with Ella Louis.
Well, one of the things we want to do, as you rightfully said, that individuals who have children go to school, they come home, and they cannot go home because their parents are at work still. We try to have a space for them with a computer there, that they can go and start their homework on the computer. They can play on the computer. They can. So once you have that, and the parents realize that they are taking interest in their children, they'll become far more productive and far more effective in their workspace.
Important.
Yes. You have to pay good attention to your employee. And within the work environment, you have to make provision, intentional provision, especially when you have young children, employee with young, small children. You have to know from day one that this employee, how you're going to treat the various requirements. They will ask sometimes, sometimes they will not ask. But as the management team, you have to put that within your plan. So when it comes along, you already have a provision that is built in for that purpose. We also give some attention to communities in which we operate. And we also involve some provision for whatever needs that is manageable to the company, that we know we are always prepared and ready, so we can lend certain assistance to various needs to the community in which we operate. We also notice that one of the changes that we have to face, I see this one coming, it might not be pronounced right now, but you watch it coming, where employer has to really prepare to look at the various skill sets of your employee and to pay for it. To pay for it.
The last part is the troublesome part for some employers.
Yeah.
Yes, but let me tell you something. When you have a particular skill set, I want our young people to know, those who seek employment to know, you have a value, you're selling something, you just need to go in that company, build that company. Don't say that you're not doing it, right? Because the day will come when you have to face your boss and say, this is what I am doing. This is how your company is growing. This is how I am helping to build your company. Can you give me this or this position? Not only monetary, because not all of them want money, but we have to begin to structure in our organization, plan. Because with my experience and people who leave and people who I want to really see in my organization, that is something I'm looking at very seriously. How do I properly, right, compensate person for the skill that they have and how they help to build or further build your organization.
And you see that value, Elder Grant. I've noted one hotel corporate entity, very popular in Jamaica, that because the hotel industry is as such that after you reach one level, there's really no higher level for you to go, because some of the top positions are taken over by
expatriates.
Expatriates. So it's kind of difficult to rise higher. What they have done is linked with certain universities that they can be able to have capacity building and continuous training and education for the staff. So even if you've reached the top level, you are still able to have an added skill. And you find that when workers see that you are willing to invest in them, you are able to support their personal growth and development. It comes back with immeasurable returns.
Let me say one more thing. And that's why I really love flexibility. An employee have a particular skill and you notice it. They can make suggestions and have ideas how to make your company function better, how to let your company grow, the organization grow. So they come with that, and if you allow them, your organization will grow, because they're going to show you a pathway that you never see before. You know? So all of these little things we have to, as managers, CEO, we have to look at and begin to really look at the human resources that is out there. Jamaica can be a better place, but we have to make up our mind, especially we as Christian people, we have to make up our mind that is not all about ourselves, so to speak. It's about those around us who are loyal to us, who are committed to our company, and who work hard within the organization. We have to look at that carefully.
In some organizations, you'll see individuals who work for an institution for 30 years, and they go home basically without anything. And those are some of the realities that face the current generation, and why many are deciding not to lock themselves in to any one skill or into any one box, but to have an expansion of skills. But as you brought a point that I want Ella to comment on, the issue of intergenerational learning in the workspace. It is becoming very real.
It's very, very real.
In one of our former programs, I broached the idea with one youth, young professional, and another elder one, about reverse mentoring and co-mentoring.
Yeah.
Normally when we speak about mentorship, we speak about mentorship from an age perspective.
Yeah.
Somebody that is senior, giving mentorship to somebody who is younger.
Yeah.
But what the studies are actually showing us now is that mentorship can happen both ways. Mentorship can happen both ways.
Yes.
And that the younger ones can actually help to build the capacity of the older ones. And that there are some areas, technical areas, and newer emerging areas of life and ministry and of the workspace that the young people can make a valuable contribution. Do you think the Jamaican workforce is ready for that? Do you think Hose Assembly and Supplies, Jamaica Bedding, is ready to say, let us put in place this kind of framework where it is not so hierarchical? It is more of a flat structure where individuals can interact in a professional space, learning and growing together, asynchronously,
It happens now because sometimes one of the things I like to do now is to employ the younger people, right? Those who come with multi skills, as you rightfully said, and by doing that, they can teach the older ones them. How to do certain things. How do you fix that? How do you fix that, and so on. They went to school to do it. They just learn on the job. But when they mentor them, right? When they mentor them, then they become far more effective, far more proficient at whatever. And then they in turn now, the older one in turn now, will mentor them when it comes to people skill. Because the younger ones, they feel they don't need to have people skill. They just do what they need to do. But the older ones will mentor them with people skill. No, you need to do that. You need to do that. You can't just walk them to undo certain things. When it comes to the technical part of it, the younger ones will always teach the older ones what to do.
Especially within the digitization and the technological part of it, the younger generation, they have a knack for it. And they have to help us all the time to quickly navigate some of the things that face us.
And they would have helped you to navigate in the midst of the pandemic too?
Yes. So you see, that's how it goes. That's how it goes. And you will have your experience and your knowledge that you have to train them, show them.
Pass it back,
to them to make them more rounded and so forth.
Well, I'll close with perhaps one of the most significant points of the new workplace, the new work economy, the fact of work-life balance. I know that for many individuals, for many workspaces, we still maintain a hard line between 8 to 5 job. And individuals today are trying to balance their family life as well as their work life. And when the pandemic came, a lot of companies recognized that they were able to get the same outcomes, some of them, the same productivity, maintain the same productivity levels when individuals are at home working and they can take care of their children and they can look after that as well as when they are actually in the physical workspace. What are your views on how you can integrate and have work-life balance? Individuals getting time off, not just for vacation leave, but also to go to their child's football match.
Yes, graduation.
Graduation is normally on a weekend, so that is not time off, but you might have a match or something in the week. Take them, pick them up from school, carry them to school. How can you, what are your words as leaders in the business field on how we can have a better work-life family balance?
Well, I think it has to be given and take, give and take, because some employees, they come to work strictly 8 to 5. At 5 o'clock, they're gone.
Before 5?
Before 5, they're gone. They're gone. At the same time now, they are the ones who come to you at times and say, listen, my child is going to play football this evening. He or she going to do this. Can I go off? Sometimes I find that difficult to do. But there are some individuals, they don't watch time. They come to work at 8 o'clock, they leave at 6 up to 7 o'clock. Once work is there to be done. So someone like that come to you and said, can I get some time off?
But shouldn't there be limits though? Shouldn't there be limits? Shouldn't work time be work time?
Yeah, but there are certain times, there are certain things that the work demands. Let's say, for example, a truck is there to be sent out, and 5 o'clock he catch you. Are you going to stop at 5? Mm-hmm. No, you can't do that.
That would be unreasonable.
That's the point I'm making.
Yeah. So reasonability.
That's the point I'm making. So if you are reasonable to me, I don't have any problem.
Okay. I see your point.
Yeah. Changes will come, and this is one that we can't stop. With the new generation coming, and so I'm looking at where the government in it has to come quickly with some kind of solution to this working environment, where you can you still get your required 8 hours per day from a person, but if you can structure it in such a way, it has to be organized, depends on the skill and the needs of the person. It has to be organized, but it can work. I'm sure something can work, but the government would have to begin with some kind of policy. That doesn't say within your own business space.
You cannot
develop something that is workable and fair to you as the employer and the employee.
We're going to be closing. Thank you so much for staying with us. The post-pandemic workspace, its impact, opportunities, and challenges. This is the focus of Bless TV's special that is being brought to you today, and we're broadcasting to you from the Caymanos Golf Club in St. Catherine. We want to say thanks to each of you for joining us on this insightful journey with Elder Lewin and Elder Grant. We are certain that your presence here today and you having watched, that you will be blessed in sharing this with other individuals. On behalf of the entire production team, on behalf of our studio engineers, our cameramen, our producers, I am Omar Oliphant saying thanks and see you next time.